who you are, where you're from in the chat, which will be absolutely great, and we'll crack on and get started. So first of all, just to introduce myself, I'm Lucy Supperstone. I'm a Director of Innovation and Standards from the Leadership Skills Foundation, and I'll be kind of leading the discussions today. We want to make this so that it's a real engaging and hopefully interactive conversation between the panelists to begin with, and then there'll be opportunities at the end to ask question and answers. So we have got the question and answer side enabled, so please put any questions as we go in there and we'll come back to them at the end of the session. It's a hour session, so we'll aim to kind of have the panel for about 45 minutes and then we'll do question and answers afterwards, so hopefully get plenty of time to get your input as well as the great panel that we've got today as well. So starting off, good afternoon everyone, and welcome to the panel discussion, which is around students for sustainability, and in particular looking at the power of student-led nature and environmental social action to build a sustainable future. Today I'm really excited actually, because we're exploring how young people who are in the universities and colleges around the country, how they're actually leading the charge in tackling climate change and shaping a greener, fairer world. Not in the future, but it's actually happening now, which we've been really lucky to be a part of and driving forward along with colleagues that are on the call today. So wanted to really share with you what those experiences are and share with you how that is happening in colleges and universities across the country. So across the UK and around the world, young people are stepping up like never before. And I think it's a real movement that we're seeing in every institution that we visit in particular. It's been said that over 70% of young people saying they want to take action on climate change. Sorry if you can hear my doorbell going. The joys of virtual. And more than 2/3 believe sustainability should be a key part of their education and career choices. The green economy is booming as well, so it's projected to create nearly 500,000 new UK jobs by 2030. So it's really important that our institutions are preparing young people and the individuals that are going through it ready for what could be their future careers. And that means that the skills students gain through volunteering and environmental action, things like teamwork, problem solving and leadership, are not just good for the planet, but vital for their future work prospects as well. So we're seeing from local rewilding projects to nationwide campaigns on waste, energy and biodiversity, student-led initiatives are proving that meaningful change often starts small, and that could be in colleges, universities, in local communities, but actually they can gain momentum and become something that has a sustainable change and a change on the local community too. So today I'm really excited to introduce you to our panel, and it brings together both experience and fresh perspectives. We've got two experts in volunteering youth engagement programmes, so Rob and Chris, and then we've got also a sixth form college teacher and leader, Chris Graham, and currently actually a young person, so Aaron, welcome Aaron, who's already making their mark and continues to make their mark through environmental volunteering and was a part of the Environment Leaders programme that we provide to colleges and universities. Together, what we really want from today is that they help us to understand how youth-driven action can create lasting impact and what we can do to empower the next generation of change makers through colleges, sixth forms and universities. So I'd like to first of all pass over to my colleague, Rob Bruce from the Leadership Skills Foundation. And Rob, if you wouldn't mind, if you could give us an overview of your role and the Environment Leaders programme that we're delivering in partnership with WWF and RSPB, that would be absolutely great.
I will. I am sharing my screen, so hopefully everyone can see that. Lucy, can everyone see that? Cool, brilliant. As always, again, the joys of virtual. Yeah, so my name is Rob. I am the Business Development Manager for the Leadership Skills Foundation, and I'm kind of here today to talk about our Environment Leaders programme, which is, as Lucy said, we have developed in collaboration with WWF and the RSPB, and it really is about instilling those green skills in young people and starting small, so that eventually those kind of habits and that leadership becomes habitual. So like I said, I think just a sort of a brief overview of the Environment Leaders Program. The kind of the core of this is it's for anyone who works with young people effectively. So so any organisations that support young people who want to develop those kind of confident, climate conscious leaders. As I said, it was built in partnership with WWF and the RSPB, and it gives those really accredited leadership and green skills development. So, for example, the qualification itself is split into two levels, so level 2 and level 3, or if you're a Scottish centre, level 5 and level 6, respectively. And it gives the learners those qualifications in youth-led environmental action. So level 3, the official title of that is leading a project for positive change. And the focus really is on those kind of larger projects and independent leadership. So learners will research issues, collect evidence, and design a sustained project with really, really clear aims. So that might be rewilding a neglected space. They might set up a school allotment to grow their own food. They can engage with their local MP to campaign for greater climate action, etc., etc. So it's not just kind of a one-off. The idea is that it kind of instills those kind of ground level kind of initiatives that then can grow. So as I said, I think that they once they've planned their project, they then implement it with peer and community involvement. They evaluate the kind of the impact in depth. So they measure the outcomes against the goals. They plan their next steps, and they have to show that it is continuable, that it's not just something they do to get their qualification, but that it then kind of goes on and can carry on once they have stopped doing it, as it were. So whether they pass that on to someone else, but the idea is that it can continue. And again, I think that the nice thing about the level 6 for the Environment Leaders Program is that it contains or comes with it rather 8 UCAS points. So on successful completion of the level 3 Environment Leaders Program, there are 8 UCAS points attached to it. As I said, I think the Leadership Skills Foundation, we are the awarding body, so we're regulated by Ofqual, and as I said, it comes with those 8 UCAS points, which is a really nice kind of recognition for the skills that they develop and the hard work that the students put into it. Again, in terms of what kind of comes with the program, we've really tried to develop this with teachers and lecturers at heart. So rather than just saying here's something you can go and try, go and do it, we have tried to kind of build in a real that full suite of e-learning resources and traditional PowerPoint resources as well for classroom-based delivery. There are downloadable and editable learner evidence records, what we call LERs, that allow students to record, reflect on, and then evidence their learning. So as I said, it's a really, really lovely program. And like I said, I'm looking forward to talking to Chris in a moment, who was one of our Trailblazer centres, and then Aaron, who actually has done the hard work and has actually done the program. So we'll kind of hear a little bit more about how he found that in just a minute.
Thanks, Rob. That's absolutely great. Thank you. And I'll pass over to our partner and colleague as well, Chris Broadbent from Planet Earth Games. If you wouldn't mind giving us a bit of an overview of Planet Earth Games, please, Chris, that'd be great.
Sure, yeah, sure will. Although I was quite intrigued to see Spider-Man pop up before me, but I'm intrigued to see what will happen next. But anyway, you'll have to make do with me for the time being. Hi, I'm Chris Broadbent, founder of Planet Earth Games. I will race through what it's all about. If you've heard of us, great. If you haven't, hopefully this will give you an overview of a good crash course in what we're all about. And you'll also learn in this presentation why we do work so well with Leadership Skills Foundation. There's such synergy between us in us providing the practical skills and the academic grounding to work together on working with young people to help them be more green leaders of the future. So a bit of background about us. I've really emphasised the beliefs here because the vision and mission are nice enough, but the beliefs really underpin what Planet Earth Games is all about. We really believe there's a symbiotic relationship between human health and environmental health. So we believe we're big on physical activity and sport and people being active as well, because we believe that people, if they have a healthy environment, they're much more likely to engage with it, much more likely to enjoy the outdoors, and much more likely to be physically fit. And it's also going to help their mental health as well. So there's such a symbiotic relationship there between human health and environmental health. It's in our own interests to look after the environment, of course. And also it can be a bit overwhelming sometimes climate action and the rest, and the doom and gloom around it. But actually, it can be fun as well. It can be really fun, like trying new things and doing new activities. Sustainability can be fun, and that's the heart of what Planet Earth Games does. And also, everyone can play a part. Doesn't matter where you are on your journey, whether you're a totally committed, person who is vegan, who cycles all the time, etc., or you are somebody who's not quite sure about it. Everyone can play a part. Everyone can make a contribution to making the planet a little bit better. That's our beliefs that underpins what we do. So our education program is the heart of it actually is at colleges. We've just recently expanded out to primary schools as well. It's scalable for higher education as well, and secondary schools. But we have an education program with the colleges which runs from January to April each year. That involves colleges taking part in challenges that we set. We set some standard challenges, and that might be things like having a meat-free Monday, for example, at college, having a green travel day at college. But the real magic with the program comes with colleges themselves, led by young people, create the activities on campus and in their communities, and it's designed by them and created by them and delivered by them for the young people. So that's where the real magic happens. That's where much more of the creative ideas come through as well. It's a competition as well. We find that competition's a real driver for it as well. So colleges are looking at each other and trying to do the best, and it's a real driver for activity. So it's a competition. So there's a winning college when we get to Earth Day. The college who's got the most participants, scored the most points, is the Planet Earth Games champion for that year. Like I say, we work with Leadership Skills Foundation on developing green leadership skills as well, and we're aligned with the Association of Colleges in the delivery of this program. It's all in line with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Every challenge and activity is in line with that and has a connection to environmental sustainability or the natural world, and with sport or physical activity. So example challenges are things like plogging, picking up litter and jogging, cycling. One of my favourites. I'll go through some of the case studies now, but some fantastic activities have been created. This is Bradford College. I think what I'd highlight about Bradford College, one of our former winners. They were very effective with, and I've got a sporting background. We find it very hard to reach, harder to reach students in sport. But with our model, which brings in environmentalism, we've been very effective at having a very diverse and very inclusive participation within Planet Earth Games. And the leaders of the Planet Earth Games at Bradford College were the ones who had English as a second language. So we really managed to reach those students that are typically hard to reach for sport and physical activity audiences. Broadstairs College, this is my favourite, I think my all-time favourite activity created on campus. This was students, again, student-led. They decided to create a jungle gym, and what it is, a jungle gym, it's a gym created from materials that were otherwise going to landfill to build an outdoor well-being space that obviously is carbon neutral, doesn't use any energy, but provides that space, designed for students, by students. It's environmentally friendly, and it's a well-being space as well. It's a great legacy project going forward as well. Leeds City College, fantastic activities they've done. They've got an eco gym there where the use of the cardio equipment, the rowers, the treadmills, etc., generates clean electricity for the college itself as well. And they've also built a garden of sanctuary as well as part of it. So there's immediate impacts, there's longer term impacts as well, legacy projects, and also because it's organised by young people, people develop those green leadership skills. Sorry, a big selfie of me in here, but City of Westminster College were our winners last year, and it was just humbling, to be honest with you. We put this thing out, and it's humbling to go there and see what they do. And it's thousands of students involved in it, creating these, amazing activities, turning bottles into beacons, well-being indoor games, 7-day salad challenge, all these fun things that they come up with as well. And it was just, I was just blown away by it. This young man here organised all of it as well. Here's just some of the colleges that have taken part over the years. Big spread across the country, and yeah, just emphasize those outcomes really. It's that immediate short-term positive impact of taking part in whether it's litter picking or meat-free Monday. It's a catalyst for long-term legacy projects like the one we saw at the jungle gym, and it also helps develop green leadership skills amongst young people. It's been a great part of. You can follow it on Planet Earth Games and various social media channels, and that is me. I hope I've wrapped it up in 5 minutes.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris. No problem at all. I'm going to pass over to the other Chris now, if that's okay. Chris Graham from Hills Road Sixth Form College. Would you just mind introducing yourself and outlining your role and relationship to student-led sustainability action, please?
Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm Chris Graham. I am a biology teacher and sustainability lead at Hills Road Sixth Form College in Cambridge. And as part of the sustainability lead, that involves the technical side of decarbonising the college site and so on, or at least helping drive that, but also about education. And part of the education is getting students involved in leading components of that and not just receiving that education. There's lots to do, but one of the things that we set up last year was the Environment Leaders Programme. So we run that as an enrichment. So every year 12 student does an enrichment each throughout year 12, and they could choose the Environment Leaders Programme as that. We met for 1 hour a week over the academic year, basically to work through developing those leadership skills and running environmental and sustainability projects across college and some in the wider community as well. So yeah, that's a little thing.
That's great. Thanks, Chris. Yeah. I think actually probably most impact any of us have had over the last 12 months, which sounds absolutely fantastic. Aaron, if I wouldn't mind introducing yourself for just so we've got Aaron Forrester. He is a current student. If you wouldn't mind, let us know what course you were doing and what you're hoping to do next, really.
Hello, my name is Aaron Forrester and I'm also at Hills Road as well. So I completed the environmental leadership qualification last year in year 12 and I'm now in year 13. And I am also studying biology, chemistry and English literature at the minute. So it was quite nice to develop other leaderships outside of my courses through this course focused on sustainability. And as for sort of my future aspirations, I hope to sort of go into dentistry. So it's not really too relevant to sustainability necessarily, but I do feel that a lot of the skills that I've gained are applicable to a lot of jobs and careers, and to be honest, dentistry as well. And it's something that I mentioned, in my dentistry personal statements and things like that because of the amount of sort of skills I felt that I gained through the course.
Yeah, I think there'll be probably more sustainability than you realise. They'll start bringing in recycled, whatever else is going to be in there in the dentistry thing. So I think you'll have green skills yourself up as well as the essential skills that are needed there, which is absolutely great. Thank you, everyone. And hopefully what you can see is that we've got a great set of individuals that can really start to go through some questions and see how student-led sustainability activity can really start to shape what we're offering for an enrichment pathway, but also to support young people in particular to actually move on and progress into higher education or beyond that into employment as we go. So just to start off with this, then I'll just come to you, so just be warned on that. But first of all, what does student-led nature and environmental social action mean to you? So, Rob, am I okay to come to you first?
Yeah, of course. So I think something I didn't say at the beginning, but a bit of background. I used to be a secondary school English teacher and had participated in kind of eco clubs previously in school. I never ran them. I was always more kind of involved with the debate club for fairly obvious reasons, but I think I would certainly participated in a number of different eco clubs. And I think what I always found with those was that they were very myopic in that students would kind of do them. They would go and they would, do the eco club for, half an hour on a lunchtime on a Monday and then kind of forget about them. And I think what student-led kind of social action really is about owning that change. So not just joining the kind of the eco club, but kind of leading it and really connecting the values of the kind of the eco club, if you like, with that real kind of visible action. So I think those kind of formative years, those student years, are the kind of the perfect space to grow that kind of teamwork and communication and leadership when tackling the climate emergency. It's about kind of making it habitual rather than just something that happens once a week.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Rob. Chris, anything to add there? Oh, you're on mute, sorry.
Yeah, that old
Happened
chestnut.
once.
I'll get my microphone back on. Yeah, I think it is that agency and that real empowerment of young people to really truly be leading on it as well. And whilst not starting with an entirely blank piece of paper, obviously it has to be, activities have to be around reducing carbon emissions, has to be within some sort of loose framework. But I think having that empowerment of young people to truly lead in it and truly own it, because I think when you have young people actually leading on it as well, then you can really drive wider engagement across an educational establishment as well. If the young people themselves are not the ones driving it, I think it can be a bit of a it's almost doomed to fail if it's just if it's driven by the staff. Really, I think that the young people are driving it. It can really gather momentum, and it can drive true cultural change. I think in an environment, in an education context.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point, Chris. And actually, that cultural change is what we're aiming to get towards, isn't it? And actually, it gives you an extra infrastructure that can carry it out, having the young people involved or the students involved in that. Chris, any extra thoughts on that? Chris Graham, sorry.
Yeah, I very similar to other Chris actually. I and what you just said, Lucy. I think they're just an excellent driving force for change in a variety of ways, and in a purely practical way. It's just more people getting up and doing stuff that the members of staff don't have time to make happen. But if you've got more people willing to commit time, then that's great. You can get more done, get it done faster. But as others were saying as well, having that momentum generation from the students is quite impactful to engage other staff and other people within the staff body that may have nature-based solutions and sustainability lower down their priorities list, and it helps to raise the priority of that through student voice, I think.
Yeah, really good point. Thank you. Aaron, any thoughts from your perspective of, what does it actually mean to you? And you've been through this process now. So what does student-led nature and environmental social action actually mean to you as the young person, the student that's actually taking part?
Yeah, I think that it being student-led, sort of these important years, sort of being a student and sort of figuring out what you want to do, or sort of unsure of the sort of necessary skills for anything specific at this point in time. I think that sustainability is sort of very relevant, sort of always, sort of no matter what you want to do in the future, and that I think it's sort of a good cause externally, sort of outside of your sort of subjects, to sort of be putting time into and sort of be passionate about. And I also think that as a sort of young person, I think it's very empowering to sort of organize and lead such like an important cause, and I think that sort of feeling is really sort of invaluable, really, as sort of a young person.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Aaron. Completely agree. And I think what you're really showing there is around how powerful as a student members how powerful agents of change they can be to actually create that sustainability. So just growing on that a little bit, and Chris Graham and Aaron, I'm going to come back to you if that's okay. What has inspired you to get involved in environmental volunteering or action projects? So Chris, to you first, Chris Graham, if that's okay.
I guess the thing that inspired me, beyond what I mentioned earlier about encouraging a driving force, is that I kind of saw that there was a desire in young people to do stuff and get stuck in, but they need to be provided with the opportunities. That the nature of the hierarchy of institutions and so on means that they would struggle to get things off the ground off their own back, basically. So if we are capable of putting in a framework to enable them, so we're an enabler rather than a leader as such, then I think that can be very powerful, and it can help them develop that understanding of the issues of ambition hitting reality, and how actually getting something done is really complicated, because you have to deal with so many other people and so on. So that real life project leadership, I think, is absolutely invaluable for them being the great leaders of the future, because it's so different to what young people really imagine it to be when they first think up projects, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Aaron, anything to add? What got you motivated to and inspired to get involved in the volunteering and the programme itself?
So at the start of last year, Chris was actually my biology teacher. And, you know, when we were sort of talking about enrichment as sort of something to do as an extracurricular, he sort of recommended this course because it's, you know, being a new sort of course, and was saying that, you know, this would be, you know, a fantastic opportunity, sort of explained about, you know, briefly about the sort of importance of it. And sort of because I could sort of feel that, you know, as a teacher, being so enthusiastic and passionate about something, it inspired me to go, okay, you know, I can feel how inspired that he is, and that, you know, I want to get involved. So I think that a teacher's enthusiasm about sort of any topic, you know, whether that sort of be sustainability related or not, I think is really inspiring for a student.
Yeah. Can I ask you, Aaron, what was the volunteering that you actually undertook?
Yeah, so I actually led, so I actually had a group of 15 people who were volunteering for my project, and sort of through an organisation called the Tree Appeal, I was donated 50 redwood dog tree, no, not redwood,
Wow.
dogwood trees, and I actually planted them on the college site, so they're sort of all in our sort of quad communal space at college, so that's what I did.
That sounds fantastic, and obviously an experience that you enjoyed. And how did it actually make you feel? Did it make you feel like you were making a difference?
Yeah, I mean, you know, in some sort of sense, because, you know, these trees at this, you know, at their sort of early stages are, you know, quite small. So it's quite hard to sort of see a visible sort of difference being like, oh, you know, wow, it's all of a sudden this really lush, you know, space. But I think that just having, getting people involved was sort of the main takeaway of my project, of that's, you know, sort of everyone involved in that sort of left feeling really positive and really good. And I think me sort of leading that, it made me feel really good that I was like, oh wow, that I've really inspired everyone to sort of carry out more positive environmental change themselves, really.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. And are you still walking past the trees now?
Yes, they're growing and sort of becoming more full and sort of filling up the spaces in our school quad. So yeah, it's really nice to see them grow, you know.
I mean, what a lovely thought that you're seeing the change happen as you're walking past, and over the next year or so it will change so much more as well, which kind of leads to that continued impact that is so important. And when you reflect on that, that's absolutely incredible. Thanks for sharing that. Just thinking and coming back to probably Rob and the two Chris's, we've got a great example here with Aaron saying about the impact that he's made and to himself on his skills, as well as involving other people, such as teamwork, etc., and actually planting those trees and being able to see how that is going on. How do we think that colleges and universities and the local community within them, they can better support these kind of opportunities and student-led sustainability projects to happen? So, Rob, you're happy to go first? Sorry to pick on you.
Yeah, no,
Next on my screen.
No, that's fine. I'll take the first bit of this. Yeah, I think it's a challenge because what educators are going to find is that they're always butting up against the curriculum time and how tight it is, which again, shameless plug, which is why the Environment Leaders program kind of slots into the curriculum. So again, you know, whether you're doing kind of science, you know, obviously particularly biology or geography or land management or geoscience or whatever it is, it gives the students that opportunity, and it gives the students the kind of that decision making power. So I think that, you know, the ability to kind of celebrate and share those success stories, it's as we've said, it's a movement, and it helps it to grow kind of organically that way.
Yeah, it has the ability to do curriculum time enrichment, and it's flexible. And Chris, I'd imagine it's exactly the same with Planet Earth Games as well.
Yeah, I mean, the big justification I have for dedicating time to Planet Earth Games, to this type of work, really, in curriculum or outside the curriculum, is that it's a big enough reason itself, because we've all got to do something about climate change. We've all got to do our bit. But equally, even if we do, and I rarely do, meet the most cynical, person in the world who doesn't agree with climate change, then even if you are in that position, then these are the jobs of the future anyway. Young people need these skills anyway. We are going to have electric vehicles. We are going to have cleaner energy. These things are going to happen anyway. So we need to. It's just addressing climate change thing we have to do, but it's also for people's careers, for people's skill development as well. It's crucial for the careers and the economy of the future as well.
That's why communities, etc., should be supporting to give these opportunities to the student bodies to actually be able to go and do social action through nature and environment, etc. Chris, just from your point of view, you've successfully now run the Environment Leaders Programme, and I'm sure you do plenty of other enrichment activities that would be facing the same direction. What support has been kind of crucial to you to be able to deliver?
Yeah, I think, and this is a really good question, I think, about how schools and colleges can make this happen, because it doesn't happen by accident, and often it happens, too often it happens through the generosity of committed people, and that isn't sustainable, and it isn't scalable as much as we need it. And so you're talking about this, you're asking about the kind of support that I've had, and I think before we started the Environment Leaders Programme, part of my role was to try and embed this in the culture, sustainability and everything in the culture of the college as a whole. And I think it will only ever really be piecemeal stuff unless it becomes college-wide culture. And so, we have a planet strand to our college's strategic plan. We have accountability to governors, that we are providing opportunities for students to advocate for sustainability and to run projects and to be educated in various different ways through enrichment or through the curriculum and so on. And I said about priorities before, that these things sadly don't reach the top of people's priorities list often enough unless you build them into the absolute highest levels of structure within the organization. And once you do that, then that creates the driving force, top-down driving force. And if that meets the bottom-up driving force of students that we were talking about before, then you get this wonderful spread of progress
and action, which is really, really important, isn't it? And you're a sustainability lead as well for your school, is that correct? And obviously the audience today, a lot of you are probably in that situation where you're sustainability leads, etc., and maybe don't have as big a impact on curriculum as you would possibly like, and so are looking around that enrichment area of how this can be done. We've actually, as an organisation, worked with Bath University and showed how this can work in universities as well, and that's where they did take their VIP programme to deliver. They've got a VIP programme with volunteering in particular, and they used environmental action to actually do that. So if anyone wants more information on that and how it can be delivered in a university setting as well, I'm more than happy to share on that, and I'm sure Rob would be as well. If I can pass to you, Aaron, again, sorry to come back to you, if that's okay. In what ways did you feel that your volunteering and your social action that you were doing through environment action nurtured your essential skills that hopefully will be with you and transferred into your next pathway in your progression?
Yeah, I think that the main one was definitely leadership, sort of being in the sort of name of the sort of course. but having that sense that you're leading a change, for once, and it's your ideas, becoming a reality. And I think that's really sort of powerful to, achieve that, and really sort of gratifying, and really, it's a really good feel factor for that, of, seeing what you want done in the sort of sustainability sense, come to life. And I think that sometimes the main sort of drawback of that is that when people's ambitions of what they want to happen can't get met, I think that's probably one of the biggest drawbacks, that it's like almost people being too ambitious about things instead of people being underly ambitious about projects. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Well, the skills that you are doing through that leadership obviously are something that you'll go on to in your future, and obviously your heightened awareness for environment and the social action that you've done. Hopefully, is that something that you'd like to carry on with?
Yeah, I think that leading sort of a change in any sort of sense is really, I find it really interesting, and really, gratifying, and really, feel like I'm making an impact, and sort of, sort of when I have sort of a vision of sort of something sort of going a certain way, I really try my hardest to sort of make that become a reality. And I think that sort of the more times you do that and prove to yourself that you can, achieve these things, I think the stronger it gets, and the stronger self-belief you have.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. Thank you, Aaron. That's great. So just looking ahead of where we can go, in the perfect world, obviously every student will be doing social action for environment and climate change projects, activities, etc. Could be through an environment leaders program with Planet Earth Games. There's lots of ways to be able to do that. What do you think of a sustainable future led by students looks like for you? And I'm going to come to you, Chris Graham, if that's okay first. Sorry to pounce that on you.
So what does a sustainable future
led by students
look like? I think that we have to be just a little bit cautious about what we mean by led by students, because one of the things we haven't talked about is the concern that students have about climate change and their future, and that can be helped, I think, by these projects. I think one of my answers is a sort of better reduced climate anxiety amongst students is one of the outcomes of a student-led process. But I think it's also critical to acknowledge that the students in our organizations, in our structures, they aren't employed there, and they aren't in the positions of power. They have power as a collective and by driving change and everything like that, but they aren't the people employed to make the world a better place yet. They will be the future leaders, but I think it's absolutely critical that we don't think of the future being as taken into the future by students and then dissolve any responsibility in our own right as well. I think that's absolutely critical. And so the students can be a driving force and power that journey forwards by motivating others, but it's our leaders, our business leaders, our political leaders, our leaders of institutions that will generate the biggest actual change. And that might be inspired by the students, but I think that we shouldn't, I guess that's the point I want to make, I suppose, to this question, that we shouldn't think of the future being led by students, but they can be an important driving force with it. Otherwise we are in danger of sort of dissolving our responsibility to them, and we need to act as the current leaders.
Yes, and we need to be the enablers to make that change happen. Yeah, no, really good points, Chris. Thank you. Rob, Chris Broadbent, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, I mean, I think just to kind of echo what Chris said, really, I think there obviously is that concern, obviously, with climate anxiety. being rife in not just students, but in the population in general. And I think there is obviously that the role that educators play in ensuring that, not that we are passing the buck and kind of saying, well, it's your problem now, but that we are helping to kind of upskill them so that they are, refining those leadership skills and those kind of green skills, so that when they come into those positions of leadership, they're kind of ready to go. It's a I think it's a mindset. It's not a module that they have to kind of complete. It's about kind of instilling those kind of skills so that they are ready to kind of co-lead with their communities. They're not kind of waiting for permission. So that's how I would kind of phrase it. Chris?
Yeah, my point would just be that the student leaders that we see out there are having to deliver solutions in campuses and on colleges, along with the college leaders there that have wide engagement as well. My just point is that the solutions of the future need to be exciting and innovative to excite people, so people who need to live more sustainable lives can feel they're making a positive choice, but also not feeling like they're having to sacrifice, but actually having some fun doing something more sustainable.
Yeah, no, good point. Aaron, anything to add to that, really, from somebody who is in the system as such, that is going through what would you like to see?
Yeah, I do think that there is a lot of that students can have a lot of power and significance, and I would sort of say that, and I would sort of say that I've seen that at my college. But yeah, for sure, I don't think it would be able to happen at all without the support of staff and sort of having that help to get from just an idea to reality. I think that's quite hard for a student to manage as well, sort of, because staff, we've got a lot of other responsibilities, a lot of other subjects, a lot of other things to sort of be doing and sort of dealing with, that it's quite hard to do that all by yourself. So I would say that definitely having that support there is very important. Yeah, I would say that there is a lot of that students, are very capable, and that we can do that, and sort of can be quite very easily influenced as well. I would say that to do sort of certain things, and I think if we could channel that into sort of a positive way to encourage sustainability and positive sustainable growth, I think that's really something that could be really impactful, and I think would be really beneficial for the future, really.
No, thank you for that. And I'm going to, I think all of those answers came back to actually the role that sustainability leads, that staff in colleges, universities, etc. have, and the enabling factor that they have to make these type of opportunities happen. And they can obviously be helped by programs such as Environment Leaders Programme, Planet Earth Games, etc. But actually it comes down to your roles within your colleges and universities, and how can you give these opportunities to the student bodies to actually make a difference, become the change makers. So I'm going to leave the last word to Chris Graham, if that's okay. And what advice would you give to other educationalists to start making a difference through student-led action?
Okay, so my first point is echoing what I said earlier, is that for it to become widespread action, it needs a whole organisation commitment, I suppose. So some effort needs to be put into getting the highest of the high to get on board with all of this kind of stuff. So it's not just tokenistic and doesn't leave with you as well, because every individual could move on to other jobs and so on, and you want your legacy to continue, and so it needs to be embedded within the organization's work. And then it becomes sort of pragmatic stuff that I'm just kind of bringing together what other people have said, and it's about what can we do within our structures to enable this kind of driving force that's sitting there, potentially not doing anything at the moment, not being utilized as well as it could be. And so I think, you know, we've got the Environment Leaders Program is an enabler. It's a structure that's effectively a take off the shelf and use it, and it provided me with a structure that I could release this driving force in amongst some students that I wouldn't have had the time to organize. How am I going to make this happen? And I think other Chris's Planet Earth Games, that is also it's an enabler, and I imagine it provides the structure in order to release that power within students that isn't going to be released very often just by accident. So find those tools that will allow that enabling to happen. Environment Leaders Program, Planet Earth Games, and I'm sure there are a variety of other ways that you can enable those students to drive change.
No, thank you. And yeah, have to say that it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to everyone on this, and we have got some question. We've got a question in, and if anybody wants to ask a question and are quite happy to come off mute, etc., please do. I believe you can raise your hand so we can come to you if that's okay. I'll just go for the question that's in there from Chantal at the moment. Are there any methods in particular that you found to be successful in actually connecting students to nature and the environment? I would imagine this is to you, Chris, I'm afraid, Chris Graham, rather than anyone else. But if anyone's got any thoughts on that, please do let us know. So are there any methods in particular that you found to be successful in actually connecting students to nature and the environment?
I think from my experience, I teach A-level and the curriculum is very crammed, and so there are loads of really cool things you could do that I don't have the opportunity to do. So there's lots of written work about outdoor learning and the powers of outdoor learning. There's lots of work about nature connectedness by the University of Derby, a man called Miles Richardson that's got they've just released a little booklet about advice on how to help students connect with nature. But to answer the question, what do I do? Well, one of the things that I try and do is raise plant positivity in my students through what they're learning in the biology lessons. Because if you think about the nature that we come across in the world around us, the vast majority of it is actually the plants, because you might see the odd insect and a bird flying past and stuff, but you will always see those bushes and the trees and the grass and so on. And as a biology teacher, as opposed to an art teacher or something else, I like to try and encourage students to see the beauty in the biology of the organisms and so on. So I try and kind of litter my lessons with little interesting snippets about the plants that students see in their everyday life around them, with the idea that hopefully they'll walk past the plants, they'll realize there's more to this plant than just a little green blob, and also it'll help them just revise a little bit, because they'll think, oh, what was he saying about that? So, and some of it's not the biology, it's like the language. So daisy being the day's eye, because it opens up during the day and closes during the night. And if the students are out late at night and they see closed daisies, they might think, oh yeah, look, that's exciting. And the other one that I think is beautiful is the story. We haven't got loads of time, so I'll just do one more. Is the story of mistletoe. The scientific name of mistletoe is Viscum album, and I used to think that that's because the viscum meaning viscosity, because the seeds are very sticky because they have to stick to the trees that they're going to grow on. But actually, it turns out the etymology is the other way around, and that when we talk about liquids being viscous and being sticky, we're actually saying that they are mistletoe-like. So viscum means mistletoe, and viscosity means mistletoe-like. And so it's just engaging people with the wonderful stories that they can link to the plants that they see around them. That's what I like to do.
No,
I love an etymology fact.
Yes, everyone's learning. This is absolutely fantastic, and
Biology
I'll
is Susie Dent. That's me.
Yes, I love that. Chris, go for it.
Yeah, just a very quick one for me, a very small one, but one of the we have sort of entry point activities at Planet Earth Games, and one of the entry points is a plogging activity, picking up litter and jogging, because it's something tangible you're doing straight away. But by far, our biggest, most popular challenge and activity is tree hugging. People just love to hug a tree, and it just literally just connects them to nature, and it's a real starter point for people in Planet Earth Games. They go out and they hug a tree, and it releases happy endorphins, and they're off and running then with Planet Earth Games.
Amazing. Rob, go for it.
I was just going to feed in. Again, if you're kind of working with young people, consider how much lesson time it takes place inside as well. And appreciate it's the temperature's dropping, the nights are drawing in, but how many opportunities young people get to actually be outside and teach a lesson outside. Just again, a case from my own background, taking a GCSE English class outside to study the poetry anthology. And we literally downed tools and went and read it on the school field. And it's amazing how excited they are by just that change of scenery and even being outside. I mean, the reason we did it, we were talking about a particularly nature poem. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. But even taking younger years out as well to kind of do Shakespeare on the field, under the trees. I think we were doing A Midsummer Night's Dream, kind of set in a wood, and kind of having that kind of experience just to try and bring it a little bit more to life. And obviously it depends very much on the subject that you're teaching and the age group as well, and as well as where your school is located, whether you have that opportunity at all. But even making a slight change by having students outside to feel how A, cold, or B, warm it is. Is it windy? Is it raining? Is it and actually really connecting them to it on a physical level is quite visceral for some of them, and really getting them to feel it. Yeah. Sorry, Aaron, go for it.
Yeah, sorry, you're getting us all to chip away at this question. But yeah, I would say that sort of as a student, I think that the sort of importance of nature goes sort of beyond whether, you have a sort of extensive passion about biology or about sustainability. But I think that, even sort of, especially sort of as young people now and sort of having these sort of formative years sort of experience inside, and especially with like the pandemic and things like that, of having those sort of that whole sort of worldwide sort of moment of being like, oh wow, we're all sort of stuck inside. I think it really made us all appreciate and look at nature differently. And I think that that was one way that sort of everyone sort of connected with nature then. And I think sort of, especially for myself, like from that experience, I've sort of tried to maintain that sort of connection with nature sort of by going out with like walks and things. It's just sort of a sense of like well-being as well. Connected with nature is very sort of impactful. And instead of like looking it through as like a thing of being like going outside as sort of to be outside, but to go outside as sort of almost like something to do to like clear your head, whether that be sort of being like journaling or whatever, but just sort of as another means to sort of do that, I think sort of a really good way to sort of looking about connecting with nature. So yeah, that's what I would sort of say to that.
No, it's good to hear from your perspective as well, because we might be all enjoying this and absolutely not relevant to anyone who we're talking about and the student side of it. I think we're driving to an end here, and I can't see any hands up, which is great. And I'd just like to first of all thank Lisa and EAUC in particular for allowing us to put this on, which is great. And I'd just like to first of all thank Lisa and EAUC in particular for allowing us to put this on.